Today's talk is titled Make Space for the Beauty, to be delivered by Cate Armstrong, from whom you just heard. Cate Armstrong is here to feel. As a Cal Poly sociology alumna, not alumnus, but alumna, turned San Luis Obispo local singer-songwriter and mental health advocate, Cate pours her heart and often overthinking mind into authentic storytelling and sensitive lyrics. Her dreamy folk songs have evolved through the seasons she's lived as a young adult, utilizing simple acoustic guitar melodies to carry her honest and intricate vocals. Known to be a Gen Z with an old soul, she brings a learned optimism to life's lessons, with ripe vulnerability in her feelings about herself and the world, right here, right now. The social connection of it all motivates her to get out in the community by exploring the intersection of music and activism within peer support groups and volunteer connections, working with Transitions Mental Health Association. And now, Cate Armstrong. Okay?
Good morning, everyone. Hello. What a pleasure it is to be here with you all. Yeah, obviously you got a little taste of who I am and my song right there, but we're going to spend the next 25 minutes together and hopefully get to know each other and get familiar with what it means to me to make space for the beauty. So, yeah, I'll kick us off with a little space setting. So for me, that is just kind of wanting to familiarize myself with myself and you. So first things first, I obviously don't know most of you here, so it's nice to meet you and get acquainted in this way. But I just want to honor that we're all coming into this room today bringing lots of different stories and feelings and experiences, and I hope that whatever it is that comes up for you, you can sit with it and welcome it and know that in this space of the talk that I'm bringing, it's safe and welcome here. So thanks for being who you are. Second, I have to be honest with you. I have not been to many church services in my life. And what really excites me and motivates me about getting to be here is to learn from you and to know that, you know, from what I've learned from Randy and Mary this is an incredibly caring and curious and committed community. So again, just really excited to be with you. And lastly, I love participation. So there's going to be a couple points where I might ask some questions, might ask you to chime in. So don't feel like you're being put on the spot. It's voluntary. But I always see these spaces as a way that we're creating this together. So to highlight that, anybody familiar with Carole King out there? Yes. Yes. Good. I'm glad. Yes. She's the greatest. I love her. And I read her memoir a couple years ago. I've always adored her. My first record that I ever got was Tapestry, of course. I love it. But in her memoir, one of her quotes really stood out to me, and it's that performing wasn't something to fear. It was merely a larger circle of collaboration. The more I communicated my joy with the audience, the more joy they communicated back to me. So hopefully we can create this space together. So I'd love to just ask you a couple questions before I get into the bulk of it. Also, to be transparent, I used to be a tour guide at Cal Poly, so you might get a flavor of that in this. So I just want to learn a little bit more about you. So if you might raise your hand, do you live in Cambria? Yeah. Okay, cool. Anybody live in Cayucas? Okay. Morro Bay? San Luis Obispo? Okay, we're Cambria forward. This is good. Beautiful. Raise your hand if you've been coming for less than 6 months, or if it's your first day. Cool. See you. Over a year have you been coming? Okay, 2 years? 3 years? 4 years? 10 years? Okay. So you know what you're doing here. You know what this is all about. So that's beautiful. All right. Well, thanks for letting me in on that. It's good to get to know you a little bit more. So yeah, to begin, I'm going to share an experience I just had. I was lucky enough to just do a TEDx talk in San Diego, 2 weeks ago at this point. So I thought I would return to that I shared and kind of bring you into that message and elongate it a little bit. So the title of the talk was Make Space for the Beauty, and I was lucky enough to share a song and some storytelling. So that's what I'm going to start with you all today. So maybe before I get into that, we can just take a little deep breath together. So we can inhale, exhale. Can you hear that? All right, here we go. It hasn't always been easy to accept the things I didn't want to see, to make space for the beauty. I'm a walking contradiction. I wish I could come here today and simplify my feelings into one truth. The best I can do is give an honest snapshot of life. I am continuously changing. An unruly combination of my light and dark, despite believing it's an imbalance I can fix. But maybe you're like me and quietly hyperfixate on the growing pains while projecting to have it all together. For me, it's in the disconnect of my dream home vision board from my tornado of a bedroom. In the imposter syndrome of leading mental health support groups while still learning how to tend to my own wounds. In the numbness of scrolling between terror regimes and sun-kissed vacation photo dumps, wondering how these realities can coexist. Think, scroll, fix, think, scroll, scroll, fix, do, and all roads lead to self-blame. Look, I'm a first-time human, right? As we all are. But it's no wonder I leave Shake Out the Demons to the bottom of my to-do list, right next to making an appointment at the DMV. I tire of the story of not enoughness over embracing the magic of life's messiness. The truth is, I still want to dance around like a kid despite being an adult fresh off my parents' insurance. The truth is, I put my community care into action by facilitating dialogues and letter writing, yet I'm constantly humbled by what I don't know. The truth is, I want my songs to be glimmers of a brighter world, yet still tremble while advocating for them. I will always be both. The desire to be more and the gap between the becoming and the being. I can't be everything, but I can just be. My song, The Beauty, emerged in gentle revisions and growing acceptance that I am both bold and anxious, relaxed and ambitious, sad and beautiful. Music does that for me. It provides space to soften the edges of hardened truths. So here and now with you all, I embrace these contradictions, not by fixing, but simply allowing the beauty to exist. And this is the song that made it all happen. It's called The Beauty. Hope you enjoy. I got a 4-letter name, and I don't know my age. I accessorize with an open heart that bleeds on the page. I stop time when I sing. I lost Grandma Jane's ring. It's important I listen to the words they are telling me. But it hasn't always been easy to accept the things I didn't wanna see. To make space for the beauty. I read 6 books at a time, 'cause I wanna know why it's so hard to get through this life. Feels like everyone's blind. We've got so much to love, yet I think I'm too much when I try to remind someone of the good they're made of. But it hasn't always been easy to accept the things I didn't wanna see. To make space for the beauty. If I can pin it down as good or bad, if I can fit it in a box, if I don't have the choice to take it all back, I'll make peace with what I've got, so it'll never ever be easy to accept the things I don't wanna see. To make space for the beauty. It's just how I see, and I love how I see. So there you have it. Yeah, thanks for listening. Yeah, it's a tender one for me. I mean, it's been such a practice over time, but to be truthful with you, this song really came to life when my mom's brother passed away, and it's kind of my first experience seeing into that level of grief. And I was just so shocked by how steadfast she was in knowing that there is space for the grief and there's joy that we need to return to replenish ourselves to get through it. So that's really where that song was born, you know, out of such a painful memory But I think that's what's so beautiful for me about songwriting, and I feel so lucky that I have been able to commit to this craft over time, is it really allows me to make space for the beauty by pouring that pain into a medium like a song. So for me, that's really how I've gotten comfortable talking about these really hard things and getting comfortable with my own humanity, because I've been practicing my vulnerability, and that's obviously a big part of why I'm talking about this today, and why we had the quote from Brene Brown to kick us off, because it's a buzzword these days, right? We hear it thrown around, but to actually be in those moments, all those moments that she listed and described, is a whole other lived experience. And those are the moments that I'm really passionate about, and why I think practicing vulnerability is so important. So that's one of my first points that I'm going to talk about in the remainder of this, is we're going to go over vulnerability as a practice. And with that, we're going to talk about identifying our joys within this process and how to come back to ourselves, and really how to do that with other people, how to do that in community. I mean, you all are already top notch at that, gathering, being together. You're so joyful when you arrived, you just want to connect, so you already got that down. But yeah, I mean, for me, there's no question of why this is a need. We know how much loneliness is really striking our world, social media and not having the same rituals and routines of gathering in community. It makes it really hard to show up and connect with one another. But we all deserve to be seen and be known. So, like I said, for me, that's really come through committing to this craft of songwriting and getting to be a part of this world of music and going to shows and getting connected with other musicians and really feeling seen in that process. So with that, it makes me think about how we can use our joy as a tool to come back to those feelings that are hard to process. And I come at this from a lens of mental health as well. I have been working for Transitions Mental Health Association for the last couple years, facilitating support groups. So it's really important to me that we figure out how we can make space to commit to our crafts, commit to our hobbies, commit to our vulnerabilities, and commit to each other. So with that, I'd love a little participation moment. I'd love to welcome you in. So I'd love to learn from you all if you have any hobbies or activities or things that you return to that just make you happy, that allow you to feel alive. So if you want to raise your hand, share any ideas of things that you love to do.
Singing.
Singing! Good. Well, this is a good place for you then.
Being out in nature.
Being out in nature. Yes. Connecting with things that are bigger than us. That's beautiful. Yeah, and I think you make a good point too of it is scary, and it's kind of always scary. And especially for me, I could think back to one of the first times I sang at an open mic night, and I was so terrified because all of the musicians there were so cool and they had it all down, and I was like, who wants to hear these vulnerable little songs that I've written? But it's like, seems to be that that's the thing that really draws people together, is when you're actually living through that fear, then magic happens. So kudos to you. And singing and being outside, got to stay connected. So with that, I want to offer a quote from one of my favorite books. It's called The Lightmaker's Manifesto by an author named Karen Walrond. And she talks all about how we have to use our joys to facilitate the spark of change, and being able to use it as fuel for our activism and be able to identify how can we use these things that really light us up to be able to connect with people and to be able to make change in our communities. So she says, we can mindfully identify and call on the gifts and skills and experiences that we already have, the talents and traits that already bring joy into our lives, the things that light us up, and ritualize them. So it's thinking about not reinventing the wheel, but just figuring out things that you already love to do. So an example for me is, like I said, I've worked for Transitions Mental Health Association, and I was working in the wellness centers, which offers peer-led support groups. So we come together on the basis of lived experience of mental health challenges, whether it be for yourself or in your family. And naturally, it's a space where safety is cultivated, vulnerability is welcomed, and we want to share our stories and connect with each other. But I want to share a group that was my most popular group was music sharing, because all we had to do was sit in a circle. Everybody just brings a song. We play it on the screen, play it on YouTube, and people just tell a story about it. And I've heard things like, oh, this song brings me back to prom in the 80s, or this song really helped me get through my divorce, or I just learned this new song and I wanted to share it with someone. So to me, that communicates, we don't have to show up knowing what we're doing. We just have to show up and want to connect with people. So for me, when I think about making space for the beauty in that way, it's how can I be courageous and wanting to be available to those places and not thinking that I have to outsource my inspiration or motivation, but can just show up and figure it out from there. So identifying that in community can be so powerful to see and be seen in that process of figuring it out and be supported along the way. So to kind of meld that message all as one, for me, it kind of just came to the point of there's a lot of things I really want to do. There's a lot of ways I really want to contribute to change making around, and I just have to start with what I have. So my friends and I started a little activism group. We get together every other week and we take turns educating each other on different social issues going on in the world. We call our representatives together. We go to events from nonprofits, and I've been pretty terrified because, as we've identified, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and it's really overwhelming to know where to start. But at least for me, in the connection of community, I feel like it's possible to make mistakes and to keep working towards a future that I hope to see. So with that, I really want to encourage any steps that feel authentic to you, whether that be weaving in your joy or whether that be just starting with the community you already have. I'm not sure what you all get up to together, but you've got all you need. And I would love to ground that in a final little song that we can sing together. So this is going to be just a little tidbit of a chorus of a song that I wrote as a promotion for the Central Coast Hotline. It's a 24/7 confidential crisis line for mental health. And yeah, the song is called All I Need, and it's just to remember that wherever you are, there's always just a little step you can take. So I'm going to sing it once just so you can get familiar with it, and then we can all sing it a couple times together just to close out this time. So thanks for listening, and here we go. It goes like this. I've got all I need. I've got all I need. Then we're going to go up. I've got all I need right in front of me. All right, I think we can do that together. Cool. Ready? I've got all I need. I've got all I need. I've got all I need right in front of me. One more time. I've got all I need. I've got all I need. I've got all I need right in front of me. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.